Hello everyone and welcome to Overwatch 101, or welcome back if you're returning to this series. As you know, this is a series where I try to help console players get a little bit better at the game. As I've stated before, that's not to say that you're bad or that you really need this, right? But some people may be very thankful to have this. Today we're going to be covering Nepal and its 3 locations. This is our first King of the Hill map. I'm pretty excited for this. Now, King of the Hill maps are handled very similarly to one another. And I'm going to show you what I mean when we go over this. When we leave spawn, okay, now King of the Hill maps are symmetrical, completely symmetrical, so that means if you're coming out of the other side, right, it's pretty much going to look the exact same, except that slope up right there is going to be over to the right, right? It's basically just going to be a mirror image. So this works for both sides. Okay, when you leave spawn, the number one thing that I like to do, and what I see most pros do, is to take this slope up here to the high ground, okay? Now, you're not going to see much opposition, if any, yet, right? This isn't where you're going to see your opposition. This is just kind of an area to fall back to and to regroup and things like that. The objective is over there, and we'll discuss that in a minute. But I like to come through here and be right here, okay? This is where I like to be, and the reason I like to be here is because it gives me a good lay of the land. I can see the objective, which is right there, from over here, right? I can see what's going on over there. I can see what's going on down here. I can see a lot of things from over here. So that's why I recommend everyone take that slope, come up here, right? And if you were coming out of that side, it would be on your right side, and you would go up, and then you would be over there, right? It's very symmetrical. So we come out here, and if we see any opposition over there, then you just duke it out, man. You just fight it out, okay? Because the point won't even be unlocked yet. So there's no point. There's no point in jumping on the point, right? It's not unlocked yet, so there's really no point in being there and fighting it out. Because in King of the Hill maps, something you'll find is that the point is very constricted, right? It is a very small area. So you don't want to be there just yet. Right, you don't want to just flood in and stand on the point for no reason, because it won't even be unlocked yet. So that's why it's good to come up here and get this high ground and see what you're working with, right? This is what all the pros do almost every time. Okay, I see it all the time. You fight it out, okay, you duke it out, you know, maybe charge in here, get a little bit of this, back out a little bit, right? Tell them that you're not going to let them come this way, right? You're going to be aggressive. You're going to control this high ground. Then, once the point unlocks, right? It's a 25-second timer. Once the point unlocks, then you come down and then you take it, okay? Now you capture, and it only takes about, I'd say it only takes about 2 seconds to capture, especially with everybody up here. It doesn't take very long at all. When you do capture this objective, you do not want to stand here. You don't want to stand on the objective just waiting for them to assault you, okay? This is not what you want to do. This is not good. You need to get back up to the high ground. After you take it, you need to start migrating back up here. Okay, you've got a nice big health pack right there to help you out. You've got a nice big one over there to help you out, which, of course, that's their side, but still. This is a really good place to hold up here, right? And even better up here on this bridge. Right, you can have people behind you and they can just be firing into that main choke there, okay? And you can still see that area over there really well. So you can see pretty much everything from up here. This is just the best place to be when the point is not being assaulted. Now, of course, if there is someone on the point, okay, then yes, you do have to jump down and you do have to attack them and you have to keep them from taking it, right? It's as simple as that. When it is being taken, you have to contest and you have to kill them, okay? You can't just sit up there, right? You can't sit up there while they take the point, because if they do, then their percentage will increase and bad things will happen. So when they're on the point, yes, you jump down, but not before then, okay? If there's no one on the point, then that's where you want to be, up there, just firing into that choke. That should pretty much do it for this location, all right? Those are pretty much the basics. That's really all you need to know. Let's move on to our second location. And welcome to the second Nepal map. Alright, when we come out of spawn on the second location here, now of course these can be in any order. That first location, that might be the second location, right? And this might be the first one that you play. You could see these in any order, but it won't matter because you'll know what to do no matter where you are. When you come out of spawn, what I suggest everyone do is come up here, right, to the left. And if you were on the other side, it would be on your right, okay? So come up here, get this high ground, right? And this is a really nice high ground up here, right? It brings you out right up here, okay? And you can kind of see everything, right? Now, if the enemy team does it, then they'll be up there, okay? And this is really nice to be up here because, once again, it's high ground. It's all about high ground, right? You can see everything from here. You can see what they're working with, okay? And then once you have figured out what they're working with, that's when you can jump down and attack, right? You've surveyed the land. You've surveyed their team. That's when you can formulate a plan, jump down and attack, right? That's what it's all about. Like I said, you don't want to stay up there forever, okay? When you do capture the point, right, like he's doing there, when you capture the point, okay, where you want to be is over here. Okay, you want to be controlling this area right here. You don't want to stand on the point. It's too constricted, okay? There's not a whole lot of room for Pharaoh to fly around. There's not a whole lot of room for people to move around. You don't have too much cover. The only cover you have is that column right there in the middle. That's really the only cover you have, somewhat, okay? So you do want to be over here. Oh, got charged. You want to be right here in this area controlling these health packs, okay? These big health packs. These are really close to one another, and they're really nice to have. Now, of course, you don't want to push too far. I wouldn't suggest going in there, because they'll be flooding through there, most likely. Or they'll be flooding from over there. So they're going to kind of come through here, right? So you don't want to really push too far, like over here. Like, this is a little too far. But up here is where you want to be, okay? If you control this area, then they can't come through here, right? They can't surprise attack up through here. And if they're right there, okay, then you can just give them a little bit of distance, as we've discussed before when they take high ground. Give them a little bit of distance and fire into them from there, okay? And wear down their shield. Because eventually they'll have to jump down, right? If they're all up there, if they want to take that objective. Alright? So those are pretty much the basics of this location. Just take this area and control it. Give them space if they take the high ground, because they'll eventually have to jump down to take the point. If they're coming from straight ahead, right? From right there, then when they jump on the point, then you can just fight it out, right? That's all it takes. Alright, now let's move on to the second location. And welcome to the third objective, right? Welcome to the third location. This is a cool, like, Nepalese temple we've got here. So the objective is inside. Now that is a little bit different. As we've discussed, outside and inside locations are drastically different. But when you leave spawn, honestly, I don't really suggest much except going straight forward. There's not really much to this objective but to go straight forward. There aren't any flanking routes or any high grounds to take, right? You just come up here, and you can come through either way you like. You can go left, you can go right. I've seen pros go left, pros go right. Alright, I've seen pros meet one another here at this bridge. Okay, I've seen them meet here and duke it out. This is okay, and you can definitely do this if you're skilled enough, but you do have to be aware of the abyss, right? You can easily fall into that hole there, and you don't want that. So if you do take this bridge and try to hold up here until the point unlocks, then you just have to be very aware that you can fall off. Now, if the enemy team jumps onto the objective, right, we could just fire into them from here. They're much easier targets from up here because this is a high ground. So, like I said, this is very nice to have to begin with, but you just have to be very careful of the abyss, okay? If you're going to take this area up here, you have to be a little more skilled, okay? I wouldn't suggest doing this as a beginner. The beginner way to come in that I like to go is to go up here, okay? And then try your best to meet them in this room and fight it out for the health pack, okay? Fight it out for the hidey hole, right? That's what we call this, the hidey hole. Alright, you fight it out in here, and then when the objective unlocks, then you go to the objective and you capture it, okay? This can also lead you around, right, to getting behind them, okay? If they go up there, you could go around the other way and get in behind them, right, and maybe do some damage from over here. But once the objective unlocks, like I said, you're just going to have to jump on it, okay, and take it. Alright? Especially if you see someone already up here from the other team, you just have to come and take it, okay? You just have to come and fight it out. But once you unlock this, okay, this is the last place you want to be. You don't want to be standing on the objective. For reason number one, I should say, is this right here. They can easily jump down from that big health pack room down here and take you by surprise if you're just standing on the point, okay? I also don't recommend just sitting in here. Even though this is not on the point, I absolutely don't recommend this because they'll just jump down with a full assault, okay, and you might not be ready for that. This is a very tight, closed-in area. I don't like being in here any longer than I have to be. So I don't recommend being on the point or being in there, okay? I also don't recommend standing just back here, right, on your side. I don't recommend that because, in my opinion, this is just too far from the objective, okay? They can easily just come onto it and try to take it. Now, of course, you would have to fight it out, but at the same time, you have so much distance here, you can't really do too much damage. Now, as I've stated, you could just stand up here. If you take the objective, you could just stand up here and get ready for their attack, right? You can see them coming if they go over there. You can see them coming if they go through there. Okay, you can see them very well from here. But even better, and what I've seen a lot of teams do, is they come up here, right? And they try to hold here. Now this is pretty good. I've seen pro teams do this. Okay, but you have to be aggressive if you're going to take this strategy. If you are going to use this tactic, you have to be aggressive because they're going to be flooding in through this door, right? This is their main way in. So if you're going to try to hold here in this high ground, right, compared to that low ground, okay, then you're just going to have to really be aggressive and spam into them, okay? Now, I do not recommend coming in here and coming up this far. I don't recommend this because, you know, yeah, there's a big health pack behind you, but you're just so close to their spawn. I absolutely don't recommend being up this close, okay? Through this door and on this side, this is where you want to be. This is where you want to be controlling them, okay? And of course, if you see that the objective is being taken, then you just back off, okay, and you come and you deal with the threat, okay? And once you deal with it, alright, then most likely the enemy team will be pouring into the objective, right? Because you left to come deal with this threat. So if they are pouring in, then I would just use this back room to your advantage because you don't want to be standing over here, right? This is just suicide. You don't want to be standing over here. This is no bueno, okay? Use this back room to your advantage, okay, if they come flooding onto the point, and just be as aggressive as you can be. You don't want to back off and get up there, right, because that's giving them distance that they don't really deserve, right? You don't need to be giving them that kind of distance. You just want to fight it out. You just want to take your point, okay? All right, well, that's gonna pretty much do it for Nepal. It's not too difficult. Just take the high ground when you can, and don't take it when you can't, okay? Now, for this area, of course, you have to be much more aggressive than the other areas. You have to be a little closer to their spawn than I like. However, you absolutely don't want to just be standing on the point after you've already taken it, okay? Because this is just asking to get ulted on with no cover, right? You're out in the open. This is just asking to get ulted on, asking to get assaulted on by the enemy team, and they're most likely going to get a wipe, right? And then it'll be their point. So I advise holding up there, maybe holding over there, possibly holding on the bridge, anywhere but here and inside the little hidey hole. Alright, this has been King of the Hill Nepal. It's more about where to be versus any flanking routes or anything like that, or holding routes. It's just more about where to hold your enemy team and be aggressive. Alright, I wish you good luck with your Nepal endeavors. This has been Overwatch 101, signing off.